Hey guys, welcome back to my pretend baking show. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a wedding cake at home. So if that's something that interests you, keep watching. Okay, so you've determined the flavor of your wedding cake. Now it's time to determine the size. So you can either do this two ways. You can do it by either determining how many people you're actually going to be feeding, or you can just do it the overall look and aesthetic of a wedding cake. So in this case, I'm going to be doing a 3-tier cake. So you've got the flavor down, you got the size down, now you need the cake pans. I bought my cake pans from Wilton, and you can find these cake pans on Amazon as well. It comes in a set of 4 pans. You have the 12-inch, the 10-inch, the 8-inch, the 6-inch. However, for my 3-tiered cake, I'm going to be doing a 12, a 9, and a 6. I had to buy the 9-inch pan separate. So this next step is totally up to you. It just depends on how much time you actually have. But I like to bake my cakes 2 days before the wedding. So what you're going to want to do is bake your cakes and let them cool for at least 15 minutes. Once they're warm to the touch, you're going to want to wrap them in saran wrap or plastic wrap and place them in the freezer. It's so much easier when you work with frozen cakes. Alright, so when it's time to put the buttercream on, you're going to want to make sure that you have cake boards. So I have 2 cake boards here. They're just cardboard with holes in the center. And I bought these off of Amazon. I'll put the link in the description below. These cake boards are especially important when you have tiered cakes. Okay, so on to the fun part, the decorating. You're going to grab a little bit of buttercream and put it all on this cake board. This is going to act like glue for the cake itself. Since I want my wedding cake to be white, I'm not going to put the chocolate buttercream all the way to the edge. That way it doesn't bleed out into the white. So here I'm just making sure that the cake is even on both the sides and on the top. You're also going to want to purchase a cake drum. This one is 12 inches and you can find it on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description below. And now it's time to put on the final coat. So what we're going to want to do is put our vanilla buttercream into our piping bag. And guys, for this recipe, I highly recommend using a clear vanilla extract along with this bright white Americolor food coloring. This is to make your buttercream that really beautiful wedding white cake that you want. So you don't have to put your buttercream in a piping bag, but I think it's much easier to control how much buttercream you're putting on, and also it doesn't smear around the crumbs when you're trying to smooth out your cake. So we're just going to go around the base and we're going to scrape off the excess later. And we're going to get our cake scraper and lightly scrape away the excess. So what I'm doing here is trying to get a sharp edge on the top of my cake. So I'm putting my angled spatula flat and I'm just brushing it towards the center. And once I scrape off the buttercream, I'm going to scrape it off into my mixing bowl. Okay, so when you're gonna start stacking your cakes, you want to add the support. So what I use is bubble tea straws, and you can get them off of Amazon. I'll put the link in the description below as well. But you want to measure your cake tiers, and however tall it is, that's how tall you want your bubble tea straw to be. So this is how I'm gonna be doing it. So for my 12-inch round base tier, I'm going to be using 6 of these bubble tea straws just so that there's a great support for the other 2 tiers. So I'm just going to go like 2 inches in from the edge, and I'm going to stick my bubble teas into the cake, straight down. Okay, so I'm going to be adding a center dowel to the cake just so it prevents the cake from moving side to side. So I'm going to measure the diameter of the cake, and I'll determine where the center point is, and that's where I'll put my dowel. I'm going to put the bubble tea straws in my 9-inch tier as well. Okay, so same thing, 2 inches in from the side, from the edge. So since I had a hole in my cake board for my 9-inch, I'm going to gently place my cake over this center dowel and slide it down. Okay, so I'm not sure why I didn't think of this before, but I didn't poke a hole through the middle of this tier. So when it goes through the dowel, it totally like explodes at the top just because all of that excess didn't have anywhere to go. So, food for thought, make sure you poke a hole all the way through the tier before you stack it onto the dowel. Yeah, so I mean, you can't really tell with my face, but I'm super worried at this point. But I'm just glad that it's the middle tier and not the top tier. And of course, I didn't poke a hole in the top tier either. But luckily, it didn't create as big of an explosion as I thought it would. And because my cakes were chilled, I was able to just push down the whole top tier without all the buttercream getting everywhere. To fix this, I just grabbed more buttercream, put it on the top, and that's where the cake topper was going to go for the wedding couple. Okay guys, the final step is to just cover up the cracks. And there you have it, a beautiful semi-naked chocolate wedding cake.